So we are live at the Tokyo Olympics. We're heading into the dining commons to see what are the best foods that they have here for strength athletes to eat early in the morning, and what does it look like. So going up the steps to the dining commons, the first time you have no idea what to expect, right? So you're gonna come in, you're gonna turn the corner, and it's like, all right, this place is huge. Some of the big key factors here is that you've gotta, coming in here, these bins to the left, you've gotta wash your hands. You gotta make sure that your hands are clean. You gotta make sure that everything is set up really well. You gotta make sure that your hands are clean. You've got to make sure that your hands are dry. You've got to make sure that you've got your mask on, and on top of that, that you're clean enough so that and your hands are dry enough so that then you can get the gloves on. So the gloves are these plastic gloves that they seem to be built for like the normal size person, right? My hands are actually decently sized. My fingers aren't that long, but my palms are actually pretty wide, and I think they've done a pretty good job of finding the best size for most human beings, but there's a lot of bigger people that are just blasting through these gloves. And you can see here, just putting them on, they're a little smaller. I've seen Alex break his gloves at least 4 different times, and I think that the whole idea with the gloves is it's precautionary. It's so that people aren't touching the same things, and that, to be fair, even whether or not COVID spreads through surface contact is a whole nother debate, but there's 10 to 12,000 athletes here plus coaches, and it's a massive buffet, and taking these precautions for no other reason is just for cleanliness. It's actually gives you a nice peace of mind. So once you get set up, once you get everything set up with the gloves, you end up heading into the main line, into the actual food line. And the way they set it up is, you get your tray, you get your cutlery, and then they have sort of like the world food source that you can get. They've got, like, of course, pizza and stuff like that, real classic type things. And then they've got Asia, they've got halal, they've got gluten-free and vegetarian. So it's really incredible. And when you walk here, it's like the first time you go to college, that feeling of like, wow, there's food everywhere. And I think that was my first problem, was that I just wanted to eat everything. It's like obviously all you can eat. Every time I go up to the buffet, I'm usually getting 3 to 4 plates. That's the inner thrower in me. And now that, when you're at the Olympics, there's just so much walking around. You're constantly walking everywhere. So you do tend to be extremely hungry by the time your next meal comes, because you're walking around 14 to 16,000 steps every single day. That's a lot of walking. So even right here, you can see this is the halal, and I believe they have the best rice outside of the Japanese rice. They've got some really good curry there, and this is where typically this is the vegetarian and gluten-free line. They've got some decent curry here as well. They have good curry. And they had really good rice. The yellow rice I really like quite a bit. And they've had samosas a couple different times that were quite tasty. I think the most interesting part that I've noticed is that, even amongst our group of Samoans, is we eat at the same spot every single time that we eat. And it just shows you, like, people are eating, like, they just get into a habit. Even when you're here, you just get into these rituals that you go to the same spot and you eat the same type of food, and you find what you like, and it becomes your routine, right? So this is the Japanese rice. I'll say this, the Japanese rice is much stickier, and I've found, ironically, for some weird reason, that Japanese curry is really good. I've found that the Japanese rice I really, really like in the afternoon and evening, and I like the halal rice in the morning. And then you can see here, I think that's some hake, some sausages, some eggs there. And so I just like mixing and mashing all of my food, and that might be the Pennsylvania Dutch side of me. I can just eat any type of food. So now, where we're walking through the entire dining commons. Now we're getting towards the salad bar area, and at the salad bar there's going to be a whole bunch of variety of different vegetables and olives and even raw salmon. The raw salmon's really good. Yogurts and tons of different fruit, and of course cereal, as you see, rice bran, brown rice flakes, which I actually really like. And even early on, what I noticed is that the Japanese people were trying to put these cups underneath the cereal first thing in the morning and try and keep people just putting cups under there so they spill it less. But the rest of the world is not as orderly as the Japanese culture. So now you can see I'm getting into the salad bar, working into a really good mixed greens here. They've got just tons and tons of greens, anything you can think of. And then here's the vegetables, celery, cauliflower, broccoli, shredded carrots, tomatoes, pickles, corn, olives, lime, you name it, basil, you name it, they've got it, right? Hard-boiled eggs, and then ham, turkey, anything. So my whole goal is that I really wanted to focus on making sure my fiber intake was high as I'm traveling, and just in general, I feel better with around 40 grams a day. So I'm eating a lot of kimchi while I'm here, as you can see, dishing that up. And I've even been avoiding utilizing any salad dressing. Instead of actually putting kimchi on top of my salad, on top of my lettuce. So I put tuna on there, but after this point of the trip, I actually stopped eating the tuna and started focusing on the raw salmon. And then here, this is yogurt that I mix in with my cereal. And then I've been putting kiwi, pineapple, oranges, grapefruit, watermelon, just honeydew, which is that green melon there. I think it's honeydew. They're just calling it melon. But the selection is just, it's really, really fantastic. And it's one of those things where it's like, you've got the best athletes in the world, so you've got to make sure that they're getting enough nutrition. You got to make sure that they're feeling good. You got to make sure that they are getting enough sustenance. And finally the best part of this entire process is the coffee. Not that the coffee's good, but you have direct access to espresso shots and making red eyes, homemade red eyes. And even this chocolate drink actually is really good. The chocolate drink is quite tasty. I didn't think it would be that good, but it's legit. It's almost like a thicker chocolate milkshake or a thicker chocolate milk. And then there's some milk there. Now I will say this, I think they actually stopped serving that milk after the first 3 or 4 days because everybody was just grabbing the cups. So over here where it says Recycle Us, that's where all the Coke products are. So you got water, you've got Powerade, you've got some coffee in there as well, cold brew. And then here you got oranges, plums, bananas. Your kiwi is going to be right where those plums are. Almost, it's like they alternate between plums and kiwi. Plums and kiwi actually happen to be my favorite fruit. So if anybody wants to hook me up with some really good fruit, feel free to get me some good plums. But here's the funny part. We're a creature of habit. So this is where we sit like every single meal. So every single meal we sit at the exact same spot, and it ends up working out really well, because when you get into the dining commons, it's sort of overwhelming. It's sort of this scary thing. You're going into the dining commons, there's just thousands of athletes in there. It's like, where are you gonna sit? Well, you sit at the exact same spot, and we even got to the point where we're like, we're never going and sitting over in that area. So it's like, you notice that all the teams sort of do the exact same thing, and that's what it makes it interesting. But then you end up, mingling with other athletes and other coaches and other teams, and it makes for a really cool time, because I think eating is such a sociable time. You can sit there, you can sit for an hour, hour and a half, talk about training, talk about life, talk about, the village and the experience of being at the Olympics. And that's exactly what makes the Dining Commons so freaking cool. So stay tuned. If you want help with your nutrition, click on the link down below. Pick up a high performance nutrition program from GarageStrength.com. Until next time, guys, peace. Time to eat.